Well, Roosters fans, something special this week on Roosters Radio. We have Rooster number 1083. And since being discovered by the great Arthur Beetson and put on a scholarship at our club, he's become a captain. He's played 264 games. He's played in 4 grand finals and won 3 premierships, 1 test for Australia. And what a player, what a leader, what a man, a fan favourite. Women love him, men want to be him. I tell you what, Friendy, welcome to Roosters Radio.
Thanks, Bushy.
Oh. Sorry, got excited. I bumped the mic, Friendy. Edge towards you. Jeez. Mate, welcome. And Friendy, you know, to have you in here today is a great honour for us. You know, we've developed a terrific relationship off the field, and I think, you know, a measure of a man is, you know, the honour and respect that they get, and the fans over the years have just loved what you've done for our club. They love your story. They love your journey from the young larrikin, you with so much potential, to a man standing next to our other favourite captain, Boyd, holding up the trophy. There's so much to like in that set of brackets. But do you want to tell us where it all began for you and that initial story from a young Noosa Pirate?
Yeah, you know, it's played all my juniors at the Noosa Pirates from 9 years old. I started, and then it was under 14s or under 15s carnival, I think, in Redcliffe, where I was scouted by Artie. Well, seen by Artie, and then brought down, and I went through the club and met the first graders at the time, and Ricky Stewart was a coach at that stage, and I went through a few different other clubs at the time with my parents, and I don't know why, but it was sort of it was an easy decision as soon as I went through the Roosters organisation. Obviously, my parents had a bit to do with that, but I think, you know, from early on, I guess they sort of pushed me in the way of this club, and I'm glad they did, because from day dot, it's been an awesome club. It's full of great people, and it's given me a lot of the good memories in my life.
Friendy, when a man like Arthur Beetson, who leaves not only a legacy on rugby league but a significant legacy on the Roosters, when he scouts you at 15 and he's a Queensland legend, you're a proud Queenslander, what's it like to be in his company and to just sort of, you know, look up and go, oh, that's Arthur Beetson, I guess? Yeah,
I guess early on, you know, I was a pretty young kid, and I sort of knew a little bit about Artie. It wasn't more until I came down to the actual Roosters, and, you know, you realise the standing he had at this club and then in the game as well, and, he'd plonk his deck chair out there beside the field and sit and watch, and it was probably not until then that you realise, I suppose how lucky I was to be scouted by such a big part of rugby league.
Friendy, you come to Sydney, you play through our junior reps in the flag and the ball and under 20s, and in 2008 you make your debut against the Bulldogs. Do you remember anything about that game?
I remember actually being on the short side. I was on the short side, and Sonny Bill was in the other team, and I remember he got the ball, and I was standing there shitting myself, and just thought, just make sure you tackle him, and I got him.
Good. Did you remind him when he came in?
Nah, I didn't. I left that alone. I don't think it was a great tackle, but it was obviously that, and just running out first time, it's something that you always want to do, and you got mum and dad and the boys and the brothers in the crowd, and it was an awesome experience.
Now, Friendy, you mentioned that tackle. You've made over a huge amount of tackles, 11,265 tackles in your career. Oh, wow. Can you believe it? It's huge.
Yeah, it's. I feel all right at the moment, so hopefully it stays that way. But I prided myself on my defence from a really young age. I've always enjoyed defence, even from under 9s, 10s, and I guess it's been a big part of my footy, and I suppose something that I've always hung my hat on. So,
what would you say to a young fella that's about to run out in that under 9s, under 10s that you mentioned, and you're proud of your defence? What would you say to a young guy or girl that's about to run on that field in regards to defence?
I think just enjoy it. everyone loves the attacking part of footy, you know, but you defend well, you get the ball back quicker. That was always sort of my thing. So, you know, I was the same as well. I love playing, you know, ball in hand as a young kid, but you know, I also enjoyed trying to smash the other kid on the other team. So yeah.
Friendy, of the 11,999 tackles that you made, it's 12. Of the 12,000 tackles you made, is there anyone that's memorable? Do you have one that stands out, or a play that you think, oh, geez, he's coming again, or someone you got over the top of and thought, oh, I've got to do him again?
No, not really. There was no particular tackle. You know, I had some good battles with a few blokes. I remember Paul Gallen used to run at me, I'd say 20 times a game whenever we played the Sharks. Yeah.
You should jump in the ring with him now. If you
no, I have to wear headgear in there.
I wouldn't either.
And then I don't know, not particularly. No, you know, no real tackle. I remember some games. I remember the 2013 game against Manly, the 4-0.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, the semi-final, late in the season. Sorry, yeah. You know, those sort of games, that stands out to me, like just a pure defensive game. Both teams just threw a lot of footy at each other, but I just remember sort of as a team and you know, as an individual, I remember watching that game back and just thinking, yeah, that was pretty cool to be a part of.
Everyone that plays with you, including Coach Robinson, talks about defence being your cornerstone. But one thing I noticed about your game over the years that really just grew and grew was your kicking. And you're pretty crafty. When you did get the ball and you decided to have a kick, it was something you really worked on, or is it something that was just natural to you?
Nah, you know, it was not very natural. Used to hit the shin a lot, but probably still even in the later days. But yeah, it's just something that I practice, I guess. You know, it's sort of what this place does here. You can't just sit stagnant. You know, everyone here is getting better, and they're always pushing you to get better. So obviously, yeah, it was a part of my game that wasn't great and at the start of my career, and something that I think most hookers have in their game now. So I sort of had to go and learn how to do it. And yeah.
Mate, you're an 18, 19-year-old kicking around the eastern suburbs. Hooning, I suppose, is probably a better word. And 2009, 2010, you're forced to have a break from the club for a few indiscretions. And you come back in 2010. What did you learn about yourself? I mean, we're all young blokes. We all make some poor choices, but, you know, you're playing football and it was big news at the time. When you look back at that time in your life, what was the takeaway?
Yeah, you know, I appreciated footy. I know that. I'd say 2008, I played 5 games. 2009, I played a lot of them. But I probably took it for granted. I didn't really take, you know, what it meant to play for the Roosters, play for the NRL, be a role model. It wasn't until that I went and worked in the coffee shop and slaved it away, and, you know, you sort of train on your own, and you're away from that club feel, and you're away from the boys, and you don't pop in every morning and you got 10 blokes with a new story to tell you, and, you know, you miss all that sort of stuff. And it probably wasn't until 2010 that, you know, when I came back, we also, you know, we had a pretty good year that year. It was sort of like, you know, this is what I want to have a crack at, and you know, I'm all in. Yeah. I was all in on the beers on 2009.
Well, talking of 2010, you're playing your first grand final. We played St George. What do you remember about that game?
I remember half-time feeling good and full-time feeling not that good. You know, it's, I suppose, a great learning curve for anyone. I guess that's probably why we went on and had the success we did, I think. I know personally losing one is... Yeah, it means nothing really to even be there then. It's, you know, the big spectacle, and you run out and it's all awesome, and then when you lose, it's like, yeah, you might as well come last. But yeah, winning them definitely gave me a drive to want to be there again. You know, I think there's no better feeling than running out of that tunnel on grand final day, and you look up the crowd, and it's packed, and you can see all the red, white, and blue jerseys there. So it's pretty cool.
Friendy, you talk about losing a grand final. It sort of lulls and just means nothing in the end. But they say you got to lose one to win one. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I definitely. I was young at the time as well. I suppose you're excited to be there. The week's cool. You go to the grand final brekkie and you do all this, and there's a lot of hype, and it's exciting. But it was definitely, for me personally, the 2013, none of that sort of mattered. It was cool to be there again, and you enjoy the hype. But it was all about just winning it.
So let's talk about the wins now, the celebrations, the three big ones. So 2013, and then we've got obviously 2018 and 2019. In regards to all those grand finals, obviously 2013 being your first one, but what would be your most memorable one? What would be one of the highlights in those three games for you?
It's a hard question. I'd say the highlight for all of them. We'd always, 13 we won, and you have your time in the sheds with the family and everything else, and media, blah blah blah. Sing a song, and then in 13 we sort of all went out as a team, and football staff stood in a circle with a beer in hand or a soft drink for some boys, but sort of just soaked it in, and then anyone that wanted to say their piece or thank someone sort of did that. And for me, the games were awesome, and there was so many good parts, and some memorable moments, but from different individuals. But it was that that whatever it was, 20 minutes standing out there in an empty stadium after each win, just soaking it in with the sort of the crew that you'd gone about doing,
getting you there together.
Getting it, yeah. So you set that target every year, and then to actually achieve it, and then sit back and go,
enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it, and say whatever you need to say or say nothing. It was a cool feeling.
Friendy, in those wins, who do you think's the best player you've probably played with at this great club? You've had so many over the years.
Yeah, it's tough.
We're hitting you with the hard questions.
Yeah, there's a list of different ones, for all different reasons. You got like your minis, who the 13, pretty special. 13, Jenko, comes up with that try. That's a big moment in a game. I think Sonny Bill Williams, you got to throw him in there. He can change a game. He can change a team. There's no doubt about that. There's some guys that I've played majority of my footy with. Mitchell Orbison, Jared Warrior-Hargraves. I'd say for me, they're been like a constant in a Roosters era, and one that I've been a part of, and someone that you just know is going to turn up and do their job on and off the field. You can go and ask them anything off the field, and you can ask anything of them on a field, and they'll do it. So yeah, those guys, pretty special Roosters, and I'm sure both of them will be remembered here for a long time as well.
I think you touched on something there that I've always admired and seen from afar, as the friendships with like yourself, Orbo, Aidan Guerra is another one. I think you were groomsman at his wedding and godfather of his kids and stuff like that. So lifelong friendships that continue, after football, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I touched on earlier about, the Roosters, the feeling I got early on, just a good club full of good people. And I think that's why still now, you're seeing these young guys that having a crack this year and playing some awesome footy. It's the club brings in good people, breeds good people, and I've made lifelong friends. Aidan Guerra, the Orbs. There's so many names, but even outside of that, some of the staff members here, the Kathy Kings of the Roosters. Those sort of people I've never been anywhere else, but you know, I don't know if other clubs have them, but I know that they're the reason that this club is so good.
Friendy, it's often said that strong leadership is the reason we're so good. And we have it at coaching level. We have it with yourself and Boyd and, you know, our leaders. You know, there's a whole new group of younger leaders coming through in Victor and then they're going to impress upon themselves. But can you talk us about the influence of someone like Nick Politis has on this club? And a lot of people from the outside, you know, they use the old Politis word like it's a swear word, but it really is a compliment to him and what he's done in this organisation. What does it mean to you and what's the man like?
Yeah, you know, I think that it's a big part of the club. You know, Nick, he was the first sponsor on a rugby league jersey. He's a big part of NRL. He's a big part of rugby league. But I think his love for the Roosters, and I think his, you know, his passion for the club, but his ruthlessness to succeed as well. You know, I think some people, you know, talk about it in a bad light, but it's why we've been successful. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, it breeds, you know, if you come to the Roosters, there's a standard that you have to adhere to and you have to play by and live by. And, you know, I think that comes from Nick and the way he conducts himself and business and all that. And then it filters down from Robbo and the coaching staff and then into the players. And I think that's why, you know, this club is so good. And it's because of those guys. They're tough, you know, men and tough businessmen, and, you know, they're harsh, but you know, at the end of the day, they're doing it for the right reasons, and you know, it's all for club first, not you know, not for individuals. Yeah.
Friendy, you know, we've been Roosters fans our whole lives. We've got great family history here. Bells' dad and husband played at the Roosters. Sylvia was the ball boy on the sidelines. My grandfather's in the Hall of Fame. From a fan's perspective, we look from the outside and go, wow, you know, what a great time it is to be a Rooster with all this success. But you see a young man named Trent Robinson come in as an assistant coach to Brian Smith in 2010. And then 2013, he gets his first start as an NRL coach. Yep. What does he mean to you, and how significant has his influence been on your journey?
Yeah, he's been massive. You know, he was there when I was sacked in 2009, and I had a chat with him and Brian in the park in one of the little huts at Coogee.
So did Silky and I, but for different reasons. we can't talk about that today.
I wasn't on the beers in the hut. Yeah, and mate, it was, you know, he was there from the start for me. Both of them sort of said, you know, you need to go and do your thing, and we'll both stand by and get you back in, and if you can go and prove that you want to be here. And you know, obviously then Robbo went and did his thing in France, but I think the minute that the group of players heard that he was coming back for that 13, there was a you know, a buzz. A lot of boys loved Robbo as an assistant and were disappointed when he left, and then to hear that he was coming back, you know, it was exciting. And yeah, he came back pretty well, I think. You know, it's been a great run. Yeah, as a first year coach, come in and win a comp, but then, you know, to sort of steer a club and a team, and so many different players and different types of competitions. I think the way he has over the years, it's a credit to him. He's one of the smartest, you know, football minds, but smartest and most intelligent blokes I've met. In my life.
Friendy, what about personal milestones? We've got a list here of some of the awards that you've won. So 2011, Jack Gibson Medal, best and fairest at the club. Then you get selected for Prime Minister's 13. 2016, you represent Australia. You know, then you've captained the club to 2 back-to-back premierships. Then you represent Queensland, which is, you know, every Queenslander's dream, and you win the Ron McAuliffe Medal. Like, you've done everything in the game, but of all those, you know, accolades, is there one that is you hold dear to your heart?
It's the ones, you know, the Jack Gibson Awards. They're voted by players and people at the staff, people in the club. So, you know, those sort of ones for me that are voted by your peers are the ones that mean the most. Obviously, it's similar for the Ron McAuliffe that's voted by players and staff of the Queensland team. So those, your peers are the people you play for and you want respect of, and they're the ones that mean the most. Speaking
of Queensland team, I know Silky's got a question about that captain that kept you out for so long, but I just want to ask you, being a proud Queenslander, being a Noosa pirate as a kid, probably watching, the Wally Lewises and, that great legacy, or a little bit later, but the great legacy of Queenslanders come through. What did it mean for you to pull on that maroon jersey?
Yeah, it was, it's something I'd always dreamt of. I watched, from I probably started playing footy at 9, and that was probably when the first sort of, you really get into the whole origin and all that. But, I'd watched for years. The thing that they used to do was, they'd name the team and their junior club would be said underneath them. Yeah. And, I always wanted just to, Jake Friend, Noosa Pirates to pop up one day. And, it's something that I'd strive to do, and thought it might have been past, but, I was lucky enough to get a crack at it. And, it was everything that I wanted, and definitely to sort of win the way we did. And I guess with the shittest team ever, that was pretty special.
Well, we say this with a great honour, mate. That night was a night for Roosters fans to enjoy your success. You know what I mean? We didn't like getting beaten by Queensland if we New South Welshmen, but I tell you what, to see you be part of that shittest team ever and hold the trophy was amazing. We're with you all the way.
I did have a question, and it was around Cam Smith, and I've been dying to know. Obviously retired from rep footy, but when you got selected, did he make contact with you? Did he say anything to you? I mean, as a number 9 at our club, we always knew that you were playing second fiddle to Cam Smith. You'd probably watch the games, and I mean, you wouldn't wish it on anyone, but he never gets injured. You know what I mean? But I'd be curious to know, if he ever, did he give you a call or say anything? No?
Nah. It was, I've had plenty of calls, but no, not personally from Cam. So it was obviously,
you knew what to do anyway, didn't you, Jake?
Like I said, I didn't completely expect it to get a call up. I knew that Queensland were looking at, blooding some young players. Yep. And, I was excited and surprised, but, I was going to take that opportunity because I didn't know if I was ever going to get it, and, to be able to get it. And even so with the young team, it was for me, it was even more of a, I don't know how to put it, but I was excited to get in there and see what we could do with a group of boys that people were writing off. So, yeah.
Well, Friendy, on that, I mean, let's take our Roosters hat off for a minute, put our rugby league hat on. You're a leader regardless. You'd been the bridesmaid for so long to such a great player in Cam Smith, and first selected if he's injured. You're now thrust into that role, and you've got this new young hot shot called Harry Grant. We all know he's a great player. What's the story around, you just, when Harry comes on, that the word was, you said, mate, you do what you like and I'll back you up, or, can you give us a little insight, a fan's insight into that?
Yeah, well, Harry was picked. Wayne had sort of given him an idea of what he was going to do, but not too much. Just said, when you get on, just go for it. And he was playing lock at the time, and he was sort of didn't know what was, his role as such. He hadn't trained a whole lot there, and I just thought, I just thought, I know how good he is, and go. I just said, mate, go jump in dummy half wherever you want. I'll roll, I'll roam, I'll do whatever. And yeah, that was sort of it. I didn't mind. I was going to do whatever I had to. And yeah, it worked out. He had a cracker of a game. So, yeah, sure and he's a great boy, great kid. I got along with him really well in that camp, and I think everyone's seen how good of a player he is, and I think he'll be in that jersey for a long time now.
Now, Jake, after chatting about all your accolades in football and your professional career, you've hit a milestone this year, and you've got a little fella, PJ.
Yeah.
Congratulations for you and Jenna in regards to that. Tell me a bit about being a dad.
Yeah, it's it is everything that people say. You speak to blokes and they're like, "Oh, wait till you have a kid," and you'll never love anyone like it, or you'll never have that feeling like it, and you're sort of like, yeah, whatever. And I think, yeah, over all those beers and all those chats, none of them blokes were telling a lie. It's one of the best feelings you can have. So,
how old is he now?
He's what is he? 10 and a bit weeks, 10 and a half weeks.
The
So
smiles are coming.
yeah, he's starting to get a bit of a personality, and plenty of smiles, plenty of cries, plenty of shits. And, but no, it's been awesome. And I suppose one blessing is that with the retirement, that I've been able to spend a lot more time at home with him and Jenna, and that's been pretty cool. So
Very special.
yeah.
Friendy, on that, we asked Joey Manu, he had us in tears, he was crying. Just the influences on their career. Who do you think has been one of the biggest influences on your career, to date?
Definitely my parents, obviously. Dad coached me from, under 9s till 16s or thereabouts. I don't particularly like his style of or his chat on footy these days. He's an armchair critic. He sits there and bags this and that, and I can't really watch footy with him. But he was a big part of my footy development early on, and then I'd have to say Robbo. As I said, he's been there through a lot of the ups and downs of my career, and he's stuck by me. He's put time into me, and I've learnt so much of him. So yeah, probably those two.
Friendy, you've learnt so much. Brian Smith's no slouch as a coach, over 400 and something games of a first grade coach, and so many grand finals, never won one, but a super smart rugby league brain. Trent Robinson, Wayne Bennett, Arthur Beetson discovers you. You've been discovered by and in touch with some of the game's greats. Can you talk to me about the style of, say someone like Wayne Bennett and Trent Robinson, the differences in them, or who's a bigger influence?
Yeah, I think very different in the way they get their points across, but I think their ideologies of footy are very similar, and what they hold, true in footy. I had a meeting with Wayne when I was 15, when I was about to sign with the club, and until I went into the Origin team, I hadn't really had a whole lot to do with him. A little bit in QAS, emerging Queensland teams. I'd just seen sort of the grumpy Wayne on the interviews that everyone had seen of late, and then to sort of go into an Origin camp and get to know him and see how Wayne sort of gets a team fired up, and it was awesome. I'd been coached by Robbo, briefly by Smithy, who was as well a great footy brain. He taught me a lot of stuff individually, like things to sort of look at and pick up on that as a player at that age I didn't. And then to go into Robbo and very different styles, Robbo and Wayne, but I think the ability to get a group of men to sort of go after something, they both got the knack, that's for sure.
Friendy, one of the questions we ask all the players is if they weren't playing football, what do they think they'd be? And I think one of the things I've always admired about you is you're an entrepreneurial spirit. You've got a few irons in the fire, the coffee shop, of course, the plumbing, looking beyond football now. Where do you see yourself in the next kind of 3 to 5 years?
Not sure, to be honest.
More
Obviously,
babies.
yeah, we'll see. Let PJ be able to look after himself first, and then obviously I've got the plumbing business that I want to continue to sort of grow. That's going well. I've got the cafe, and that sort of does its thing, and I don't have to do a whole lot there, which is nice. And I obviously want to be involved, with the Roosters, with rugby league, at some capacity. I don't know if I could completely just get rid of rugby league out of my life, but I don't know. I'll just have a crack at whatever comes my way, I suppose, and I'm sure something will tickle my fancy, and I'll go after it.
Now, mate, I live up near Beryl Street. I know you've been for a drive earlier today. And I took this photo this morning.
Yeah.
And for those that aren't aware, that there's a great mural up on the corner of Carrington Road.
We just pretend we're on a game show. Friendy, show the camera.
Where's the camera?
There's a great mural that most Roosters fans are aware of. And yesterday I saw the artist painting. It looked like your melon on the side of the house there. I went back this morning just to have a look, and I could tell it was your good self. I know you've only seen it today, but I've got to ask, what was the first thing that entered your mind when you saw that?
Yeah, it was strange. I went for a drive with Orbs, and we were doing a little interview in the car, and I was like, "This is weird. Why don't we just do it at the Roosters headquarters?" Anyway, got to the lights, and saw my head up on the wall there with some Roosters greats. So I'd driven past that mural a lot of times, and it was, I don't know, it was a weird feeling, but it means a lot to me. The bloke that got me to the Roosters, the guy that gave me my first game at the Roosters in Friendy, Mini. I don't think he was my first captain, but I played plenty of games with Mini, and then Boydo, who I've played and captained alongside for so many years, is a great mate, and it's pretty special to be in that company for me. So
well deserved, mate. I think it's a great addition.
The irony is just amazing. Like, to think about what you just said was what I was thinking. Arthur Beetson discovers you, Freddie gives you your first start. It's almost like a timeline of Jake Friend, I just want to touch on Boyd. I know that, Friend, everyone that knows you knows how genuine you are, and I know you wear your heart on your sleeve. I think the fans love you so much because of your accessibility. We do on Roosters Radio. You just, you could be anyone in the street. Like if you walk down Melbourne where they don't know footy, that's what I love. But talk to us about Boyd Cordno. We've mentioned other people, influences. That relationship is something that as fans we're proud of, and it's our Boyd and Friendy. So how's it for you who's actually in it?
Yeah, it's been awesome to be able to have Boyd there for a lot of the games as a captain with me, and I think it's almost made being captain easy. You have a guy like him. He's a New South Wales, the Australian captain. He's a leader. There's no doubt about that. In his actions, in his footy, in his life, he's like the guys that we've spoke about previously with the Knicks and Robbos. He just demands it by what he does. It's been awesome. I've had so many great experiences with Boyd on the field and off. I've had a couple of good trips away and that sort of stuff as well. So, it's been, there's a list of guys that, I've had so many good times with, and Boydo's in that list for sure. And he's a guy that, I know that no matter how often you talk or, whatever life throws at you, you could roll past him in the street and you'd wander down and you'd have a beer and, you'd chat away like it was yesterday. So
he's revered here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mate, I want to talk a little bit of football. I want to go back to last weekend. Everyone's talking about it. We may as well have our two bobs worth. Magic round, the referees, and I'd love to get your thoughts. Obviously, everyone's got an opinion on it. What's your opinion on the way the games were officiated on the weekend, and your thoughts on the, on the sim bins and so on and so forth?
Yep. Yeah, I didn't particularly like it. I didn't like the way it was done from the NRL. I know that there wasn't much chat between coaches, RLPA. I believe there's a system to doing things, and I don't think they did it the right way to start, which is disappointing, especially with where the players of the RLPA are at. We're trying to work with the NRL, and it seems to be a sort of one-way street in that sense. And then to see some of the sim bins, in my opinion, for a guy that's been retired from concussion, I believe in concussion. I know that there's an issue, but I think it's got to be done in a smarter way, in my opinion. It was just a knee-jerk reaction. Let's do it and let's see what happens. And it's in the middle of a a season. It was hard to watch. I thought it wrecked some of the games on the weekend, to be honest. But I understand what they're trying to do. I just don't think it was done the right way.
So just probably a little bit subtler. Is that what you like?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. No doubt, we can't have blokes getting hit in the head over and over and over. But in saying that, we've sped up the game. So that as well, you speed up the game and then you expect a bloke not to throw his arm out when he's tired and fatigued. It's contradicting a little bit. There's no player in the NRL that won't attempt to tackle. There's no one going to go, I can't make a good tackle, I'm going to leave him. He won't be playing first grade the next week. So it's a tough spot. I can see what they're trying to do. I just think that it should have been possibly filtered in a bit slower.
Friendy, we've gone away from the old round the leg tackle, right? It's been off for a long time. What about if we rewarded one-on-one round the legs as an option?
Yeah, this is the thing. It's been thrust. We should have been coaching one-on-one tackles, low tackles from a preseason because we knew this was coming. Okay. That's what that's how I see it, and I think it's looking like that's where rugby league's going to go. You might see more low tackles, 2-man tackles, the 3-man, high contact is possibly going to be too risky because of if you make contact with your head, you're going to be, with 12, 11 players. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But, I think it's definitely something that may have to come back is the low tackle and the 2-man tackle. Yeah.
Friendy, how much has the game changed since you first come in and played as your first game of NRL to the demands on a young NRL player now? What's the difference? Yeah,
it's changed a lot, I think. Both on and off the field. I suppose the media was getting there at the start of my career. I copped a brunt of that at the start.
Buggers.
But I think as a game, we've come so far on field and training wise. The level of professionalism that clubs have to adhere by and players have to adhere by to win a comp is pretty extensive now. It's not just turn up, train a couple of days, and run out on the weekend. It's 24/7, and it's a pressure sport. But for me, that was what I loved. I love you can't miss a day, you can't miss a session. You have to, if you do, you will get found out. And that was something that I'd wake up for and get excited about. So yeah, it's hard, but I think there's so many rewards that rugby league can give you as a young kid as well. So you can, not just in experience and games and travel, and it can set your life up, and you can meet so many good people and be a part of so many cool experiences. So I think it's all worth it.
Well, Jake, you are a legend of the club. You are one of our greats, and this weekend we're celebrating Jake on Saturday night against the Broncos at the great SCG. How are you feeling about that on Saturday night? You're such a humble man, and how are you going to be there on Saturday night at the SCG? Yeah,
it's almost awkward, having a week for Jake. Seems like
Jake week.
A bit of a wank to me, but yeah, I know. I appreciate it, and I know my family will. They're all coming down, and I suppose I'll probably look back at some stage and go, that was cool, but at the moment it's a bit like,
Well, it's a very special honour, so make sure you take that in on Saturday night.
Yeah, it'll obviously be awesome to sort of get out there. It's the first game PJ will come to, so that's exciting as well.
Really
So,
special.
Yeah.
You do know the comparable, Friendy, was when Minnie retired. They had a mini week at a coffee shop in Leichhardt. So that's a huge difference. We've come a long way.
yeah, it's like I said, it's I'll get there Saturday. I'm sure I will soak it all in, but it's tough as a. Yeah, at the moment I can't really.
I think it's so tough because you're so humble. You're just so. I don't think you realise what you mean to all the Roosters fans, to the club, just to rugby league in general. So, congratulations on an outstanding and amazing career in the game.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.
Bells has said it best, Friendy. For us at Roosters Radio, from all the fans, when a rugby league player like you retires, and not one fan from another club has a bad word to say, that he's loved at game level, origin level and club level. And the word that comes to mind for you, and it's encaptioned down the street from where Silky lives, is legacy. You've left a legacy here that will never be forgotten, and something that will be admired and a benchmark for young players to see if they can be the next Jake Friend. So from all of us, mate, we love you. We thank you for all those amazing memories. And there's plenty more to come. We want to see young PJ run out as a 6.
He won't be playing hooker, that's for sure.
Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate the words, and thanks for having me on.
Well done.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.